name is Rachelle Smith, entrepreneur, professional speaker, and author. Day 2 here on campus at my graduate alma mater, Northwestern University. I am actually very pleased. I'm actually at the Student Center. You see the bookstore is actually behind me. And I am so pleased to see this. There's a lot of pride around the men's basketball team, as they made it to the tournament this past season. And so that was historic. So again, going back to this concept of outliers, and also a shout out to Nia Coffey, who is the second women's basketball player from Northwestern to officially enter the WNBA draft. So exciting things happening here from the sports and athletics realm at Northwestern, because before the basketball team got Coach Collins, basically even by hiring him, it made a strong statement in terms of where they wanted to go in terms of making things happen. And so sports, if there's a choice between academic and sports, academics will always win out on a campus like this. So, despite all of that, there's still a lot of great things going on in the athletics realm. So, but going back to this concept of outliers. Speaking of sports, I received some inspiration yesterday. I was reading ESPN.com. They had a wonderful article on Boston Celtics Isaiah Thomas Jr. And essentially, the gist of the article is the NBA, a player that's 5'9". Actually, Isaiah Thomas Jr. is the shortest player in the NBA at 5'9". He's point guard for the Boston Celtics. But it's really been so impressive here during this playoff series, and has really played with a lot of grit, a lot of heart. And he lost his sister tragically, unexpectedly, about 3 weeks ago. And so it has just been amazing to watch him blossom and bloom and really carry his team forward during this playoff process. When you think about the concept of outliers, and I want to tie in this concept of outliers to something that I've mentioned in the previous episodes here, but it's the concept of not eliminating yourself. All right, because you can look at Isaiah. He could have told himself, I'm 5'9". There's no way anybody in the NBA is going to ever want me. I'm too short. I've got guys that are 7 feet tall, 7'2", that are playing center, and there's not a hope for me in terms of being able to play at the professional level. But he didn't eliminate himself. And so that's where the power of belief comes in. Whenever we're required to stretch or grow or be an outlier or pursue things that we may feel inadequate for, something that's out of our league, there's always the human temptation to say, I can't do that. That'll never work out. I don't have what it takes. Think about that, the voices that play in your head. What are they telling you? What have they been telling you? All right, but then when we think about the outliers, again, whether it's Isaiah Thomas, whether it's Coach Chris Collins here at Northwestern University, or outliers in any situation, Jeff Bezos at Amazon, Bill Gates at Microsoft, the late Steve Jobs at Apple, all of these top companies, all of these outliers, so to speak, in the business world, that's one thing they do, is they don't eliminate themselves. All right, they're always thinking about the future, what's possible, what can I shape, what can I make happen, how can I change market conditions and really impact the world in a positive way, impact the marketplace in a positive way. But it's certainly not going to happen if insecurities, feelings of inadequacies, feelings of inferiority creep in. And think about that. When you think about Isaiah's plight there, height is something you can't change. You either have the height or you don't. And I told you all in my younger years, particularly in high school, I wanted to be tall. And I'm 5'7", 5'10" in heels. And so, and the average woman in this country is 5'4". The average man in this country is 5'10". But I wanted to be tall. I wanted to be 6 feet, 6'2". And it's funny because back in my high school years, I actually went through this phase where I was taking calcium supplements because I'm just not a fan of particularly white milk. I just have not drank white milk in years. I stay away from it. So I try to create my own growth spurt. But again, like height, it is what it is. Now weight, things like that can be changed. But I guess the point I'm making of saying all of that is there's certain aspects of you, of your personality, perhaps even your upbringing, that you can't go back and change. All right, they're not changeable, they're not negotiable, they are what they are. And so it's incredibly important for you, again, just to face facts, face reality, and say, hey, this is the cards I've been dealt. It is what it is. How can I take this and channel it in the right direction and make things happen? All right, there's many, many people, and of course I say this humbly, wonderful parents, wonderful family. But again, you've got people like LeBron James who had a lot of adversity in his childhood. All right, but what did he do? He channeled that as an outlier. He channeled that to become the best player in the NBA right now. All right, so there's always stories of adversity. There's always, YouTube is full of videos where you've got people that are missing limbs, that are doing incredible things physically, that people with all of their functioning limbs aren't even trying to do. All right, so it's basically taking the hands that you've dealt, whether it's upbringing, whether it's, again, you may say, well, I was raised on the wrong side of the tracks. Hey, many people have actually told me this. There's no way I could ever go to a school like Northwestern. I can't afford it. All right, whether the 2017, 2018 school year, yes, the total cost of attendance per year is just north of $70,000 a year. All right, but don't eliminate yourself. There's financial aid, there's scholarships, there's grants, not just at schools like mine, but also at other schools, community college, trade schools. All right, anything you want to do, you want to be a chef, pursue it. Pursue your goals, but don't sit back and say, well, I'm not going to even try because I don't have the money, I don't have any savings. My parents were working class people. They're retired now, but my parents were working class people when I applied here. All right, I didn't look the cost. I just said, you know what? I'm going to go for it, and we're just going to let the chips fall where they may. And they did. But I didn't eliminate myself. But that's what outliers do. That's what outliers do. I don't have what it takes. It's not going to work out. There's this perception of failure even before the person takes a first step. All right, Coach Collins could have come here and said, you know what, this school is known for academics, the sports and the athletics departments have struggled, particularly, not in fencing and things like that. They've done pretty well with volleyball. We've been more successful over the years, but your football, your basketball, there's been a lot of struggles over the years. Why? Because there's a greater focus on academics. But he could have told himself coming here, what's the use? We're never going to reach the playoffs. Championship is never a possibility, but no, he came in with an open mind and said, hey, I can make this thing happen with the right team, with the right attitude, most importantly, because that's truly what it's all about, having the right mindset, having the right attitude, one that isn't self-limiting. And so I just want to challenge you today. You can be an outlier. Again, there's always a small segment, any type of population is going to be outliers that are out front, right? But you can also be an outlier. Don't limit yourself based on your wrong mindset, something that may have happened to you in the past. It's time to let go of all of that and move forward and pursue your dreams and pursue the life that you want to have. But it's not going to happen without the right mindset. Because outliers, one thing they often share, regardless of industry, field, or profession, right, they're not limiting themselves. Okay, I was at our alumni subgroup dinner last night sitting next to a fellow alum member of the subgroup who graduated in 1969. All right? And so I've been in a number of situations in my life where I've been the youngest person. Within this subgroup, yes, I'm one of the youngest people. I've been the youngest person. I've been the only female. I've been the only black person. I've been the only, youngest person. It's just always some, what could be perceived to be an eliminating factor. But no, I've always pursued my goals with gusto, and I've not been intimidated and afraid to try new things because I perhaps don't look like everyone else. In my last several years in the corporate world, biomedical sales, I'm in the biotech world, and I called on cardiologists. In Metro Detroit, 99% were male. My cardiologists are pretty much customers, all men. All right, and I enjoyed it. I did well. But again, I didn't eliminate myself like, well, I'm a woman, you're not going to listen to me, or, well, I'm black, whatever. Don't make excuses. I think back to my sales career, very first, that's when I was in pharmaceutical sales. Just moved to Detroit, my very first sales director. He was on a field visit with me, and I remember asking him, you know what? Kevin McKinnon was his name. And I said, Kevin, so what's your secret to success? He had been in the pharmaceutical world for a good while. He'd also been in the military, had a very unique background, spent some time, he'd been stationed in Korea, and I went to high school in Korea. But I remember asking him, so what's your secret to success? And then he said, well, you know what, Rachelle? There's several different things. And he had recently just completed the executive MBA program at Columbia University in New York. And he said, don't make excuses. And I never forgot that. Just don't make excuses. Isaiah Thomas is not running around the NBA making excuses for the fact that he's 5'9". All right, LeBron James is not running around the NBA saying, I can't achieve anything because I had a rough childhood. We move from place to place constantly. All right, so we all face adversity. face hardship. So it's just important that we really grab the bull by the horns and take the cards that we've been dealt and make sure that we move forward in life and achieve our goals and dreams. So I thank you so much for your time. Make it a wonderful day. Again, here from lovely Northwestern University's campus.